leaders, thanks so much for watching again. We are in the final week of our series about social media called No Filter. And this Sunday, we've got an interactive component to small groups to end our small groups with. It's something tangible for students to take home with them as a reminder and a challenge for them this week. So hopefully you'll get a chance to use that. We'll have printouts ready for you on Sunday night. And just want to remind you as well that our job is to really model what healthy social media might look like on our accounts too. So just remember that as we're going through social media and going through spending time with students, let's model the best way that we possibly can of what it looks like to do social media well. We're not going to get it right all the time, but it's something to keep in mind as we are in our social media worlds as adult leaders, is to remember that students are out there too and they're looking to you for the example. It's a great platform and a great potential to show and be the example for our students. Now, this week is our final week, like I said, and social media at its basic function is a tool for connecting people. In this series, we've talked about how it can be a really good thing. In fact, our goal is for you to enjoy social media more, but we also know that there are things that can cause you to enjoy it less. Now, if you were to think back to your biggest regrets, you'd probably discover that you felt lonely at the time when you made those regrettable decisions. See, when your acceptance bucket feels most empty, which equals loneliness, that's when you'll start scrambling to fill that bucket. And you won't always fill it with good things. Trust me, I've been there. Now, in week 1, we talked about how we sometimes let social media filter the way we see ourselves, which is a lot like filling our acceptance buckets. Today, we're going one step deeper. And see, when we look at our phones, we don't have to look people in the eye. And when we don't have to look someone in the eye, we act braver or say things that say things that we would never say or communicate in person. Here's why: because your guard is down, your filter is gone, and you make bad choices that often follow in these moments. See, even if your biggest social media regret isn't dramatic, most of you can remember saying something or commenting on something or reposting something that you wish you hadn't. But it's not all doom and gloom here. The good part is our students have an incredible opportunity to learn something that many people much older than them still haven't figured out. And if our students can embrace it now, not only can they help to avoid bad situations in the future, it can actually help them enjoy social media more. It can help us enjoy social media more. So this week we're looking at part of the book, or part of one of the books of the Bible named Proverbs. And King Solomon, who's known as the wisest man ever, wrote most of this book. See, many people believe that Solomon was writing here to one or all of his sons. So it wasn't like he was posting Instagrams, giving people instant generic quotes like, follow your dreams. No, Solomon wrote these words with a very specific purpose in mind. It was to motivate real people. Solomon wanted the best life for his own sons. And so if he's writing to them, he cares about them. And so he cares about us. He's writing these things to help us. Now in Proverbs chapter 14, verse 16, Solomon writes this. He says, the one who is wise is cautious and turns away from evil, but a fool is reckless and careless. He says, one who is wise. See, wise isn't about who makes the best grades or who's the most intelligent. Sometimes, in fact, very smart people make very unwise decisions. Wise people are people who make decisions that are better for their future. And they're people who go for the best that life has to offer them instead of just following what everyone else around them does. And then Solomon says, one who is wise is cautious. See, cautious is defined as being careful to avoid potential problems or dangers. It doesn't mean you live a sheltered or a frightened life. It just means that you know how to look ahead and you know where to look for trouble. And then Solomon turns to the fools and he says, these are people who aren't wise. He calls them reckless. And here's the point. Solomon is saying, even if it feels good in the moment, don't be reckless. Don't put yourself in a position to hurt other people. And then he goes on to say, foolish people are careless. And basically he's saying careless decisions are decisions with a no stop and think filter before them. And here's why Solomon's words are so perfect for our discussion on social media. Because late at night, when you're by yourself and all you have is your phone, that's when you're most likely to let your guard down. And when you feel lonely, you have privacy. And when you have that, you are most prone to be reckless and careless with the things you say or what you do. Now back to the first part of this verse, he says the wise are cautious. But this isn't something you want to just try to remember in the moments where your emotions are the highest, that you're feeling the weakest. There's a way better approach to this than just trying to remember. When it comes to social media, make up your mind ahead of time. That means we got to pre-decide. Make a list of things you will and won't do or say on social media. That's the take-home thing that you get to do with small groups. Next is a pre-invite. Whatever you decide, you'll need help sticking to that plan. Ask somebody you trust. Students might be able to ask you as their small group leader if they can share their pre-decision with you. And finally, we need to plan a way out. You need an escape route. You need to be able to find a handful of exits when you find yourself in a tough situation. See, when it comes to social media, make up your mind ahead of time. When we learn about Jesus, we realize that he cares a ton about humanity. And one of the best things about Jesus is he always saw people as more valuable, even when the rest of the world saw them as less than. And he wants us to try to care for people in that very true way as well. So this week, check out the handout that's attached in this Lead Small app and in your email. It's something that you'll get to fill out with your students at the end of small groups. It's able to make a commitment to look at social media differently and actually do something about it to change the way that we use that platform, because social media has great potential. So what would it look like for us to use it for good and to have a plan and to make up our mind ahead of time? So leaders, we'll see you at 4:45 for our small group leader meeting. Have a great week, and thank you for what you do.